Once upon a time, in a small African village of Agbiko, lived a young man named Kofi. Agbiko was a humble place, where dreams were smaller than the horizon. Yet even as a boy, Kofi's dreams were larger than the life around him. He watched his father haul nets with hands hardened by years of toil and his mother sew garments with threadbare needles. Honest work builds character, his father often said, but Kofi could not help noticing the gaunt faces at their dinner table. In a search for greener pastures, Kofi decided to move to Akroma, which was supposed to be his ticket out of poverty. At just 19, Kofi left the village with nothing but a tattered bag and a heart full of ambition. But the city was not the paradise he imagined. The streets buzzed with energy, yet opportunities were scarce for an uneducated boy from the countryside. Kofi's first job was at a small restaurant where he washed dishes until his fingers blistered. His wages barely covered rent, and he often went to bed hungry. The days blurred into nights, and hope began to fade. One evening, as Kofi wandered through Akroma's labyrinthine streets, he encountered Baba Ose. The old man sat at the entrance of an alleyway, surrounded by herbs, charms, and talismans. His eyes seemed to glow in the dim light, and then he asked, "Lost, are you?" Baba Ose's voice was gravelly but commanding. Kofi hesitated. "I'm just trying to find my way." Baba Ose chuckled, a sound that sent chills down Kofi's spine. "You seek wealth, don't you? Power. A life beyond this struggle." The words struck a chord. Kofi found himself drawn to the man who claimed to possess secrets that could change his fortune. Desperation overpowered caution, and he followed Baba Ose into the shadows. Inside a small, candlelit room, Baba Ose spoke of the Order of Shadows, an ancient cult that promised wealth and influence in exchange for obedience. The rituals, he explained, required items imbued with intimate energy, used condoms, collected from the city's hotels. "You will sacrifice through these vessels," Baba Ose said. "Each sacrifice will elevate you. But remember, every gift comes with a price." Kofi's heart pounded. He knew he was crossing a line, but the promise of escape from his suffering was too tempting. With trembling hands, he accepted the terms, sealing his fate. Kofi's first task was deceptively simple. He secured a job as a janitor at a luxury hotel, giving him easy access to the items he needed. His initial attempts were clumsy. The act of rummaging through trash bins for used condoms filled him with shame. But each time he thought of quitting, Baba Ose's words echoed in his mind, "Power demands sacrifice." The first ritual was a test of courage. In a dark, secluded room, Kofi placed the used condom on an altar and lit black candles around it. He chanted the incantations Baba Ose had taught him, his voice quivering with fear. When the ritual ended, Kofi felt an inexplicable surge of energy coursing through his body. The next day, news spread that a wealthy businessman, whose condom Kofi had used, had died in a freak accident. That same evening, Kofi received an anonymous deposit in his bank account, a sum larger than anything he had ever earned. The transformation in Kofi's life was immediate. He moved out of his cramped apartment and into a spacious flat in the city's affluent district. He bought expensive clothes, dined at exclusive restaurants, and began to attract attention. But the rituals continued. Each month, Baba Ose demanded a new sacrifice, and Kofi obliged. With every success, his confidence grew. The shame he once felt was replaced by arrogance, and he began to see himself as untouchable. Kofi's newfound wealth came at a cost. He distanced himself from his family, fearing they would question his sudden success. His old friends, too, were left behind. Only Oma remained by his side. Oma was a woman of quiet strength, her simple beauty matched by her unwavering faith. She worked as a teacher at a local school, earning just enough to get by. Unlike Kofi, she valued integrity over material wealth. "Kofi, you have changed," Oma said one evening as they walked through the city. "I'm happy for your success, but something feels off." Kofi laughed it off. "You worry too much, Oma. I've just found my way." But Oma wasn't convinced. She began noticing strange things about him, the odd symbols etched on pieces of paper in his apartment, the way he avoided church, and the late nights he spent away from home. Meanwhile, Kofi's dreams grew darker. He saw the faces of his victims, their eyes filled with silent accusations. He tried to dismiss them as mere nightmares, but the guilt began to gnaw at him. One fateful night, Kofi collected a used condom from a hotel room occupied by a spiritual couple known for their faith. The ritual he attempted that night was unlike any other. The flames on the altar turned black, and an eerie wind swept through the room, extinguishing the candles. Terrified, Kofi sought out Baba Ose for answers. "You have interfered with forces beyond your understanding," Baba Ose warned. "The spirits of the faithful are not easily subdued. Be careful, Kofi, or you will invite destruction upon yourself." Kofi's paranoia deepened. He began seeing shadowy figures lurking in corners, heard whispers in the silence, and felt an oppressive weight on his chest. Oma, sensing his torment, confronted him. "Kofi, whatever you're involved in, you need to stop. This isn't you." "I can't," Kofi snapped. "You wouldn't understand." Baba Ose soon delivered a chilling ultimatum: your next sacrifice must be someone you love. If you fail, the other will take you instead. Kofi was horrified. He knew they meant Oma. Torn between his love for her and his fear of the other, Kofi spiraled into despair. He tried to distance himself from Oma, hoping to protect her, but she refused to leave him. "I won't abandon you," Oma said. "Whatever you've done, we can face it together." In a moment of clarity, Kofi decided to defy the order. He gathered all the tools of his rituals, candles, symbols, and sigils, and set them ablaze. When Baba Ose discovered Kofi's betrayal, he unleashed the full wrath of the order. The confrontation was both physical and spiritual. Kofi fought against Baba Ose and the dark forces of the order, aided by Oma's prayers. Her unwavering faith created a shield around them, weakening the cult's power. In the end, Kofi made the ultimate sacrifice. Knowing he could not escape the order, he offered himself to break the curse. Oma, heartbroken but resilient, dedicated her life to spreading Kofi's story as a warning. She reminded others that shortcuts to success often lead to destruction and that true wealth lies in integrity.